Hey everyone, hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shelly and I absolutely love books and reading. However, today we are going to be taking a little bit of a different take on books and reading, and I'm going to be doing a tag all about all of the books I haven't been reading. And this is called the Why Haven't I Read These Books Yet tag, which was weaponized by Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads, who has a wonderful, wonderful channel. I'm gonna leave him linked down below. And the original conversation was on Crystal's channel at Fiber Artsy. So I'm gonna actually leave both of their channels linked down below. They're wonderful booktube creators and video makers, and I have been watching this tag with quite a bit of interest, and I couldn't wait to get to it myself, okay? So we're gonna be talking about all of the books I haven't read yet. So what I decided to do was to choose books that I bought prior to being on BookTube. I have definitely bought way more books more recently in the past year since being here on this space. And so I'm going to be talking about books that I've had for longer than I've been on this space, and I still haven't managed to read yet. If you like this kind of video, if you watch and you aren't subscribed, this is a gentle reminder to consider subscribing. But otherwise, let's just get right into this video. I also want to mention that Greg, the originator of this tag, tagged me in his original video, and I wanted to say thank you so much, Greg, for tagging me. Okay, so let's just get right into this. Okay, so the first prompt is a classic book that I haven't read and why. I have two. Okay, the first one is going to be the book that I keep on talking about wanting to read, and I really don't have a great excuse except that I have not prioritized it. And so this is my gentle nudge, and also me sort of outing myself by the fact that I have not read this, even though I know what you're all gonna say. You're gonna say, you're gonna love this, Shelly. I love this book. It's one of my favorite books of all time. How have you not read this yet? This is your gentle reminder to read this. I know. And yet I somehow obfuscate reading this book every single month, even though it has shown up in a bunch of TBRs. Okay, the book is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Oh, Frankenstein, I just keep putting you off. I have this gorgeous, beautiful, what is it, Paper Mill Classics copy? Paper Mill Press copy of this book. It's absolutely stunning. Beautiful font, like totally readable. I don't know. I just keep snubbing Mary Shelley for our first date. I just keep on going in a different direction, even though every single person I talk to who has read this book and knows anything about my reading taste tells me that I will absolutely love it. So yeah, gentle reminder to myself to read this. The next book that I want to talk about is one that has been sitting on my shelf for years. I did start it and I thought it was gorgeous, but I'm intimidated by it because I've heard there are long, drawn out, boring sections about, this is gonna give it away, about whaling, okay? And I'm talking about Moby Dick by Herman Melville. I bought this book before BookTube because it is a favorite book of one of my friends here in real life, here in town. My friend here, she loves this book. She thinks the prose is gorgeous. She talked about it with such passion that it lit a fire in me, and I bought a copy and I started it. And then I don't know what happened. And ever since then, I've been intimidated by Herman Melville, partly because it is a chunky classic. I have this Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition with deckled edges and French flaps. It's gorgeous. It's very comfortable to hold in the hand. I just don't know why I haven't read it, except that you scare me a little bit, Moby Dick. I'm not gonna lie. You scare me just a tiny bit. Okay, next is a fiction book I haven't read yet. So I have three I'm going to talk about. And they are all literary fiction books by Pulitzer Prize winning authors. And I have some good reasoning. So the first book I'm going to talk about is The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. I have not read this book because I read One moment. I read The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead, and this gave me nightmares for a week. If you don't know anything about Colson Whitehead's The Underground Railroad, this won the Pulitzer Prize, I believe, for its year. Very recent book, and it gives like a magical, realistic account of the Underground Railroad, which was a system in the U.S. to help slaves go to a part of the U.S. in which they could be free. And it is a fictionalized and very terrifying account of a young lady going on this journey, and I was frightened by it. And so as much as I want to read The Nickel Boys, as much as I want to read this, and I've heard good things about it, Colson Whitehead's particular vein of darkness makes me hesitate to pick it up. So we'll see if I ever do get to this read. The other book that I have not read, a fictional book that I have not read, is also for the same reasons. I'm worried that it will scare me. I want to read it. In my heart, I want to read it. I own the book. I've owned it for a long time. And yet I'm just slightly nervous that the book will give me nightmares. And that is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I have heard a lot about Cormac McCarthy's brutal writing. Like, he's not afraid to go there in regards to being, to play out scenes that are vicious and difficult and hard to read. And there is an underlining sense of horror in The Road, which is a post-apocalyptic literary fiction novel that also won the Pulitzer Prize back in its day. And I'm concerned that it will give me nightmares, but then on the other side, I'm wondering if I'm missing out on a really great reading experience. I don't know. And then the final book I have started, and for whatever reason, the first 3 pages have not gripped me, and I keep on saying, I will read this soon, I will read this soon, I will read this soon, and then it is again yet another Pulitzer Prize winning book and author, and that is Olive Kitteridge by Elizabeth Strout. I know so many people that really love this book, and for whatever reason, it's supposed to be about sort of a curmudgeoned a lady that's difficult to like, that is named Olive Kitteridge, and I think it's short stories about her life, fictional character. And I don't know, I start this, I have a bookmark in, oh no, I don't have a bookmark in here, but I've started this a couple of times, and every time I start it, I just am compelled to put it down and not pick it up again. Not because I don't like it, but because it doesn't grip me. I really need to sit down and just spend time with Olive Kitteridge and make up my mind about this book, but I just haven't. And again, I think perhaps because I have started it a couple of times, that it is in some ways feeding into the fact that I'm not compelled to pick it up because I know what the first paragraphs will say. So yeah, if you have any feedback about Olive Kitteridge, please let me know. Watch, everybody will be like coming for it and be like, it's such an amazing book, you'll love it. And then I'll be like, why haven't I read you yet? I have no words. A nonfiction book that I haven't read. Interestingly, I have read books. I have 2 nonfiction books to talk about, and both of these authors, I have read another book by them. So the first book is Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay, and we have another situation like Olive Kitteridge. I have read the first chapter, the first essay in Bad Feminist, and I liked it, but I wasn't propelled to read more. And so now that I have a taste, I'm not super excited to go back. I also read Hunger by Roxane Gay. I listened to the audiobook of Hunger by Roxane Gay during Nonfiction November of last year, and I did a whole review video about it. I'll leave that link down below. I didn't love the book though, and I would encourage you not to watch that video, especially if you love the book Hunger by Roxane Gay. I had some issues with it, and so having listened to that book by her and read the first essay, there's not a lot motivating me to pick this up, but I know there's a lot of readers that love it and say that it's great, and I want to get to it. I just have some sort of blocking thing in my head, especially about this book in particular. The next book, it's just a mood reader thing, so I'll put this down. The next book, I read another book by the author. The author is Constance Hale. She has this book, it's Hex Vex something, I'll put up a picture. And it is a book all about verbs and verb usage. I loved it. It was great. It was such fun reading. And so then I picked up Sin and Syntax by Constance Hale, the same author. It is a book about another grammar book about grammatical usages of certain articles and all the stuff. The grammar rules right here. I should probably read it. Anyways, the reason why is just I'm not always in the mood for a grammar book. I'm not always in the mood to dip into language in this way. And so it's sat on my shelf and I'm waiting for the moment to hit. The fourth prompt is a genre book you haven't read. Aligned with most of these answers, I have two. I have very good reasons why I haven't gotten to them. So years and years ago, I was really into this idea of reading the sort of original of things, the books that sparked a movement. So the book that sparked maybe sci-fi, the hard sci-fi movement, the best of the best out there, was Robert Heinlein's Stranger in a Strange Land. And I heard that this is like the ultimate sci-fi book, the pinnacle to that genre, the one that sets the stage for others. I know there's Dune by Frank Herbert out there. Maybe that's fantasy. Y'all, I'm getting my genres all mixed up. But anyways, so I was gifted this because I wanted it and I thought it would be great. And since then, I found out that this is a very misogynistic book, even though it does stand as a truly fantastic science fiction novel. But I have, ever since I've found that out, I've been very hesitant to read it. And I don't know, I feel very mixed about wanting to pick this up at this point. So yeah, we'll see. And then the other book I've owned and I've started, but it's always been a bit of like a timing thing. And then I just haven't gotten back to it. And since I've started it, I've heard mixed reviews about it. Some people say that this is their favorite book of all time, and other people say that this was such a disappointment. And yeah, the mixed reviews have battles in my head, and I just avoid reading the book. And what's such a shame is that it's because I own a signed copy of this book as well that it like pains me that I haven't read it. Okay, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is a fantasy novel, and I believe it's centered around a love story, but definitely centered around a magical circus that moves from place to place. And there's elements of magic in it and all of the good stuff. And I haven't read it. Yeah, and I see it floating around on the internet. I see BookTube talking about it from time to time. And so I am reminded to pick it up, but I just haven't revisited or started rereading Erin Morgenstern, because I did read the first quarter of the book and it was good. But yet again, timing in my life has always kind of been a fluid thing. And so I put it down. And then I never got back to her. I never got back to you, Erin Morgenstern. The fifth prompt is the book owned for the longest time, but not read yet. Okay, so I have two, yet again. I think this is the second oldest book that I've owned that I haven't read yet, and that is Kate Chopin's The Awakening. I actually owned a different copy of this and donated it to a little free library. I updated my copy of this book. I have now this Everyman's Library edition. It's this hardcover, very beautiful in this deep maroon, wine red color, and it has a little bookmark and everything. I mean, I updated the book and I still haven't read it. This is the story about a woman, I think, finding herself in her, like a coming of age story, and a young lady finding herself amid that journey. And I've always wanted to read it, and yet I haven't. And I really think that this has been on my shelf for quite a long time. Though I think the oldest book that I own, that has sat on my shelf for the longest, rather, that I haven't read is Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter. And yeah, I don't know. This was on my TBR a while back. I feel like I will really love the themes that Hawthorne explores. And I want to read it. I just haven't. It's not even that big of a book. I have no excuses, y'all. I have no excuses. So some of these I have reasons as to why I haven't read them. Some of them I'm really not sure if it's just a timing thing, or maybe just a mood reader thing, or I just haven't prioritized them enough. And Some books I'm just intimidated by, and other books just scare me. Okay, so I shared all of these books that I haven't read yet. What have you not read yet? Oh, the final prompt is this: tag people. And I was thinking, I want to tag powerhouse readers, readers who I feel have read everything that they've ever wanted to read. And so I'd be very curious as to what books they haven't read yet and why. So the first person is going to be Sandy from Miss Reads a Lot. Sandy, what have you not read yet? The next is Gloria Z. Thompson with the channel name of her name. Gloria, what have you not read yet? And then the final person is going to be Fraser Simons at the channel Springboard Thought. Fraser, you've read everything. What have you not read? Let me know. Okay, that's it. Of course, if you feel so inspired to do this tag, consider yourself tagged by me. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. And I will see you all in my next one. Bye, guys.